Let's step into Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, a masterpiece of Middle English storytelling. Two of its most famous stories are The Knight's Tale and The Miller's Tale, and both often come up in exams. The Knight's Tale is a chivalric romance directly based on Boccaccio's Tisada, and this was asked in exam. The story centers on two knights, Palamon and Arcite, who are captured and imprisoned by Duke Theseus. While in prison, both fall in love with the beautiful Emily. Their friendship quickly turns into rivalry. Arcite is released but suffers separation, while Palamon escapes, and the two meet again, clashing over love. Theseus intervenes and declares a grand tournament to decide who will win Emily's hand. Each character prays to a different god. Palamon to Venus for love, Arcite to Mars for victory, and Emily to Diana for chastity. Arcite wins the tournament, but fate intervenes. He is fatally injured when his horse falls. On his deathbed, Arcite entrusts Emily to Palamon. After a period of mourning, Emily marries Palamon, fulfilling the gods' intertwined prayers. From noble romance, we move to bawdy comedy, The Miller's Tale, told by a drunken miller. Here, the young wife Alison, married to an old carpenter John, begins an affair with the clever student Nicholas. It was also asked in exam. To trick John, Nicholas fabricates a prophecy of a second flood. John, gullible, hangs bathtubs from the ceiling as makeshift arks. Meanwhile, Absalom, a parish clerk who also desires Alison, tries to woo her. In the famous comic twist, Absalom begs for a kiss in the dark only to kiss Alison's backside. Enraged, he returns with a hot branding iron. Nicholas, mocking him, farts in his face, but is instantly burnt. Hearing Nicholas cry out, "Water!" John cuts loose his tub, crashes down, and becomes the laughingstock of the town. It is Geoffrey Chaucer's deliberate response to The Miller's Tale. Here, the dishonest miller, Simpkin, cheats customers by using false scales. His wife, proud of her illegitimate clerical heritage, adds comic arrogance. Two students, John and Ellen, vow revenge. First, Simpkin unties their horse and steals their flour. Forced to stay overnight at his house, the students plot their trick. Ellen rapes Malory, Simpkin's daughter, while John deceives and sleeps with Simpkin's wife. In the comic brawl that follows, Simpkin is beaten, the students reclaim their stolen flour and leave mocking him. The tale, a fabliau, ends with a sharp moral. The deceiver is himself deceived. And here's a detail often asked in exam. The tale is written in a northern dialect for comic effect. Now, the Cook's Tale. This one survives only in fragment. It tells of a cook who gambles, drinks, and chases women. Dismissed from his job, he moves in with a fellow reveler and his wife whose questionable lifestyle matches his own. Because the text breaks off, scholars remain uncertain of Chaucer's intended ending. Next, The Man of Law's Tale. This romance recounts the trials of Constance, daughter of a Christian emperor. Betrayed by false accusations, she endures exile and suffering, yet divine intervention preserves her. Ultimately, she is reunited with her family. The tale's themes of patience, providence, and reward of virtue influence later medieval romances such as Emery. Finally, The Wife of Bath's Tale. One of the most famous in the Canterbury Tales. Set in the days of Arthur, a knight rapes a maiden but is spared execution when Queen Guinevere intervenes. Instead, she sets him a quest. He must discover what women most desire. After receiving countless answers, he meets an old wise woman near court. She reveals the true answer that women most desire sovereignty over their husbands. The knight gives this reply and the queen spares his life. But now he must repay the old woman. She demands marriage. Though reluctant, he complies. On their wedding night, she offers him a choice. She can remain old and faithful or become young but unfaithful. The knight wisely gives her the choice. With that, she transforms into both young and loyal. The tale closes with the wife of Bath's playful prayer that women outlive and outmaster their husbands. Next, the Reeve's Tale. This tale belongs to the Fabliau tradition, the short, bawdy, medieval trickster story. The central figure is Simpkin, a dishonest miller who cheats his customers using false scales. His wife, notably, boasts of being the illegitimate daughter of a cleric, adding an ironic layer of misplaced pride. When two students, John and Elaine, realize Simpkin has stolen their wheat, they decide to watch him closely. But Simpkin cleverly unties their horse, distracting them, and steals their flour anyway. Forced to stay overnight at his house, the students plot revenge. In the night, Elaine rapes Maline, the miller's daughter, while John deceives and sleeps with Simpkin's wife. When Simpkin discovers the chaos, a fight breaks out, and the students beat him soundly. In the end, they recover their stolen flour, while Simpkin is left humiliated. The tale closes with a sharp moral lesson. The deceiver himself is deceived, and the students laugh at the double disgrace of the miller. Now, to the Pardoner's Tale, one of Chaucer's most powerful moral stories. Set in Flanders, it begins with three riotous young men who live in sin. When they hear that Death has killed their friend, this was asked in exam, they swear to hunt Death down and destroy him. On their quest, they meet an old man, who directs them to an oak tree. Instead of Death, they find a pile of gold coins. Suddenly, greed overtakes their mission. They forget their vow and plot against each other to claim the treasure. The youngest is sent to town for wine. Meanwhile, the other two scheme to kill him on his return, but the youngest also plots he poisons the wine. The outcome is grim. When he comes back, the two stab him to death, then drink the poisoned wine and die themselves. In the end, all three perish betrayal and greed, leading directly to their doom. Chaucer ends with a sharp irony. After telling the story of greed, the pardoner himself shamelessly appeals for money, revealing his own corruption. When the host angrily threatens him, it takes the knight's intervention to restore peace. So, here are your quick exam anchors. The Reeve's Tale, Fabliau, Simpkin deceived, moral of trickery, turned back. The Pardoner's Tales, three rioters, quest for death, oak tree, gold, poisoned wine, all die. Let's journey into the later tales of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, where every pilgrim story becomes a mirror of medieval society. We begin with the Friar's Tale, where a corrupt summoner befriends a devil disguised as a bailiff. But the twist comes when a widow's curse sends the summoner straight to hell, a sharp satire on ecclesiastical corruption. The summoner, not to be outdone, retaliates with the Summoner's Tale. Here, a hypocritical friar is humiliated when a clever trick leaves him with nothing but a fart as his gift. From satire, we move to pathos in the Clerk's Tale. This is the story of patient Griselda, whose cruel husband tests her loyalty in unbearable ways. She endures all trials silently and is finally rewarded with reunion with her children, an allegory of obedience and virtue. The Merchant's Tale takes us back to bawdy comedy. The old knight January marries the young May only to be deceived when she takes a lover. Even when January regains his sight, May's quick wit allows her to outsmart him, turning the episode into a fabliau of lust and folly. The Squire's Tale is an incomplete romance about King Cambuscan, who receives magical gifts, a flying horse, a healing sword, and more. Chaucer leaves this tale unfinished, a mystery that still intrigues readers. The Franklin's Tale explores themes of honor and promises. Dorigen, in despair, rashly vows herself to a squire if he can remove the rocks from the coast. When he succeeds, she prepares to keep her word, but the noble squire releases her, respecting her love for her husband. In The Physician's Tale, a judge schemes to possess the chaste Virginia. To preserve her honor, her father kills her. Justice comes later, when the corrupt judge is imprisoned. The Shipman's Tale returns to Fabliau territory. A merchant, his wife, and a monk become entangled in deception. The wife tricks both men, leaving the monk outsmarted and the merchant duped. One of the most notorious is The Prioress's Tale. This tale was asked in exam. It tells the anti-Semitic legend of a young Christian boy murdered by Jews. Miraculously, he continues to sing after death, and divine justice punishes the culprits. The Monk's Tale shifts tone, offering 17 short tragedies of famous figures who fell from greatness. But the pilgrims, especially the knight and the host, interrupt him, weary of such a relentless list of disasters. Then comes one of Chaucer's masterpieces, The Nun's Priest's Tale. A mock heroic fable, it tells of Chanticleer, the proud rooster, tricked by a fox. Through wit and quick thinking, he escapes a playful yet profound lesson on pride and cunning. In The Manciple's Tale, we hear the mythic story of the crow. Once white, the bird reveals Phoebus's wife's infidelity. In rage, Phoebus kills her and curses the crow, turning its feathers black forever. Finally, Chaucer closes with The Parson's Tale. It was asked in exam. Unlike the fablio or romances, this is a long, serious sermon on the 7 deadly sins. It urges confession and atonement, giving the collection a fitting moral close after so many diverse voices. So, from devils and tricksters to sermons and sermons, the Canterbury Tales embody the full range of medieval life, satire, morality, comedy, tragedy, and faith. And as you revise, remember the exam anchors. The Prioress's Tale and the Parson's Tale are frequently asked in exams. We've now reached the end of our session. I know it's been a long journey, but with Chaucer, we simply couldn't afford to leave anything out. Questions often come not only from the tales but also from the prologue, so a deeper understanding is essential for everyone. To support your preparation, I've added all the PYQs arranged topic-wise, each with detailed explanations. You'll also find a last-minute revision section to help you quickly recall the key points. Thank you for staying with me through this session, and I'll see you in the next one where we'll turn our focus to Chaucer's contemporaries.